Capcom Classics Collection brings you 22 arcade games to the home console. There's a variety in age and genre, and a guarantee that your favourite will be among them. The first in the list is 1942. This is a vertical shooter where you control a Lockheed P-38 Lightning plane, which you already knew, I'm sure. Your mission is to reach Tokyo and destroy the air fleet there, but with it being a one-hit death game, you probably won't make it. There are power-ups to collect, and you can avoid overwhelming firepower by using a loop move, which makes you temporarily invincible, but you only have 3 of these per life. You decide if you like this one, but I could barely make the first mile. "1943 was a sequel to 1942, obviously. And there were a few changes made. Instead of being shot straight out of the sky, you now have an energy bar and a special move that clears the screen. The energy bar does help a lot, but really it just prolongs an inevitable death. If you like the first game, then you're sure to like this one. "1943 Kai is just the same as the previous, but it's been upgraded in some way, a bit like a DLC I suppose. I don't know what's been changed as I can't get far enough to notice, nor do I care. But if you know, then good on you. Bionic Commando is next, and my god how I hate this game. I like the idea, but when you've come from games that use a jump button, and then play this, it's somewhat difficult to control. But that's just me. I know this was very popular in its day, and from what faded memories I have, I enjoyed it too, but not anymore. Plus with a one-hit death, I just didn't have the patience to carry on. Commando is a vertical shooter where you play as a mercenary called Super Joe. I don't know why he's called that. He's not wearing a cape or anything. You run up the screen and can shoot in 8 directions, as well as throwing grenades. This one is quite a good game, although one-hit death again really puts a downer on it. It's one of many games out there like this, and I'm sure in 1985 this was incredible. Exit Exis is another vertical shooter, and I'm sorry to any hardcore fans of this, but it's a load of pack. I'm very surprised this is a Capcom game actually. It doesn't look appealing and it doesn't play that good. It looks as generic as an Action 52 game. Well, maybe not that bad, but it's certainly bad for Capcom. Final Fight is a side-scrolling beat-em-up where you, as one of 3 players, Guy, Cody or Hager, need to take the Mad Gear gang down and rid the city of violence. We all know this one. It's insanely difficult, such a classic game. And this is probably the best way to play this title too, as you can set the continues to infinite and actually beat the game. Forgotten Worlds is a side-scrolling shooter where you play as a flying bloke with a gun. I can only describe this game as Space Harrier side on. You use one stick to move around and the other to aim your weapon in a 360 motion. It's not a bad game when you get used to the controls. Wasn't Atomic Runner a similar style game? And these two guys remind me of Two True Dudes, or True Buster for everyone else. Ghosts and Goblins doesn't need any description. We all know what it is and how hard it is. This is a great game, but you have to have reactions like a ninja to get through this one. I'm possibly the worst person in the world at playing this, but I still like it for the 20 seconds it lasts. Think you're as bad as me? I doubt it. Ghouls and Ghosts is basically the same as Ghosts and Goblins. I only noticed a slight scenery change and not much else. But bearing in mind, you won't see much of a difference in 20 seconds of playtime. Gunsmoke sees you in the Old West in this vertical shooter, and I wish I could tell you if this was any good, but I couldn't make it past the first row of houses. The controls are weird in the way that you have to use a square, triangle and circle to fire in 3 directions, which you may think is fine, except triangle fires forward, but it's split diagonally. Square fires left and circle fires right. Cross fires straight forward and L1 and R1 do something else. It's a one-hit death game again, so balls to this. Legendary Wings is another vertical shooter where you control a character with wings. This game is no different than any other shooter, except here there are side-scrolling platform levels too. The platform side of it just seems pointless and repetitive, and there are better shooters out there. Mercs is a vertical shooter where you do pretty much the same as Commando. Kill all soldiers and their vehicles. However, this is more appealing graphically and gameplay wise. You can also drive some vehicles and blow everything up that way. This also got ported to the home console, but the arcade is way better. Pirate Ship Higemaru is a puzzle game, almost like a cross between Bomberman and Bubble Bobble. You move around a maze of barrels, pick them up and smash the enemy with them, and that's about it. These games are okay for a while, but soon get repetitive and boring. Section Z is a side-scrolling shooter from 1985, which is another horizontal shooter, and occasionally vertical. Again, this isn't anything mind-blowing or exciting, but for the mid-80s I could see how it may have been a good game. It suffers from the one-hit death problem, and that just ruins it completely. Sun is a load of pap. You just run along one of many platforms and shoot everything in your way and collect items. There's nothing more.
Round 1.
Street Fighter 2 The World Warrior needs no explanation. It's just an epic game that governed the arcades, and it still plays fantastic today.
You win!
Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition is an upgrade of World Warrior, and now with the option to play all 4 bosses as your character.
You win! Perfect!
Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting is just an upgraded Champion Edition with faster speed and balance. Super Ghouls and Ghosts is just the same as its predecessors, but the graphics have been beefed up and Arthur can now perform a double jump. Trojan is a side-scrolling hack and slash, I suppose. It's also terrible. It kind of resembles Last Battle, where the same enemy just keeps appearing from both sides of the screen. Graphically it's fine, but it just doesn't play that well. Vulgus is a vertical shooter, and it's pretty similar to Exodexus, which is a load of tramp shit. This is no different, and I lost interest in this instantly. But is this collection any good? I bought this game on release, and I know I really enjoyed it, but today, looking at the list of games, there are a few in there that I don't think needed to be there. The majority are shooting games, which aren't the best titles out there, but there are some great games on there too. Each game has bonus items which you can look at before you play the game, and options to adjust controls and in-game settings, as well as rearrange soundtracks on some titles. Obviously not all games are going to appeal to everyone's taste, but there's enough there to keep you entertained. It doesn't cost an insane price either, with a mid-range price of around £15, and the Xbox version is about the same too. Thanks for watching. If for some strange reason you like my videos, please consider subscribing so I don't feel so unpopular. Do you know what I mean?